Thank you very much for having me come along. I would like, I think, basically to talk about the Bodhidharma that I discovered inside of me in 2004. That's where my journey started in Subud, when I was opened, and I realized that what had been happening with me before then actually had a pattern to it. I didn't know this. I've been doing all sorts of things. And what I'd like to do is to just take you through my journey. For me, this is an exemplification of an example of how my guidance has come about. There's so much to it that I don't think within the few minutes I can explain, but it's so huge. And the forces that this power of ours brings into our life, it's just, I think, beyond imagination. And I believe that those aren't just words. So what I'd like to talk about is my particular journey, and then to just take an example in one of my projects as to how this evolved. Um, as you probably all of you know, I was born in South Africa. I was an apartheid baby. I was born in 1944, just before apartheid became law. Now, we were under British rule up to quite a long period of that. And under that period, we already regarded ourselves as part of this huge unknown entity and control. So I grew up very happily because apartheid was giving me a very nice life, actually. The reason is that I'm brown skinned. I'm not black skinned. I didn't know this until I was way into my 20s. That the black African had no advantages as we had, that the black African didn't have street lights and sewerage in their council subsidized housing, that the black Africans didn't have an opportunity to go and not pay for education. Now, I went through this enjoying myself, yeah, until I realized this. And after I done my initial profession, which was nursing, I realized this. And in 1976, you might know about the Soweto riots. I was in Cape Town, and I realized that Cape Town is actually not responding to this tragedy that's happening in our country. The kids were being killed up north simply because we were brown-skinned. The effect on me was extremely, extremely strong. I suddenly realized I've got to do something about this. Result was that I studied law and started working with the underground movement, and eventually had to run. And I landed up in the UK, running from the security police. That's my history. I landed in the UK in 1982, and they gave me asylum, but wouldn't let my children in. I come from such a confused, abused background with a very kind, loving, intimate family. And I think it's my family that gave me the strength and my basic foundation, a belief in something outside. So I'm a confused girl. I'm a confused girl. What happened was that when I came to Britain, I was looking over my shoulder all the time, expecting a security cop to turn up. I had been severely abused during my first marriage, so I was fractured when I arrived here. And my journey from then, I sometimes come across as very aggressive, very confrontational, but I'm working on that, and I want to be less aggressive, and I want to be less confrontational. But that's my journey. What I did realize that within me there is a voice that's speaking, and I can talk. I can speak it. So I started writing, and my writing, I think, led me into a whole lot of things. I'm going to explain to you how that is just a brief introduction to me, Monica. And as you probably know, I'm married to this lovely man, Headley, who I didn't know was in Subud before I joined Subud. We met on the internet. Because I didn't know he was in Subud right at the time. So my journey became softer being in Europe. And then I was sitting in France, and I'd like to switch you over into a little presentation which I put together. Now I know I've got a screen share here, so I will try to do that while I'm talking. I want to just talk to you about my journey into this, how the project which I'm talking about at the moment evolved. It has to do with me having written a book, and it was about this woman. I was sitting in France and married to Headley, and I'd written a book about this lady. Am I screen sharing?
No, you're not.
Okay. That is share screen. So I must bring this up, mustn't I?
Yeah. So you bring up what you have behind. So you make the Zoom meeting a bit smaller, and then
That's
behind.
right. Is it sharing?
No, Magda's very good at explaining how to do it.
I actually thought I was good. I'm not. I'm not good. So I go back into my Zoom and share screen. There you are. Does it share now?
No. Ah, yeah.
It does share then.
Yes, you're sharing now.
Okay. I want to talk you through very briefly about this journey of mine. And I believe intrinsically that I carry the seed, and I didn't know what the seed was. All that I knew is all the years I said, send me, Lord. I was an abused woman. I lived in South Africa, and I think I spent 9 years and 364 days, too long, with this man. He abused me right from day one. And I was a professional. I was enjoying my profession as a nurse and a midwife. But I took all this, and I don't know why. I still don't know why. But I know that deep inside me, I know that I carried a seed. What the seed was eventually, I think I realized after I'd written this, I'd written a book about this lady who's an ancestor of mine. She's called Hottentot Venus, and she was really, really influenced my life in some way. All that I know is that Saatchi, I wrote her book. I think that was in 2011, and she became one
Monica,
of,
we're not seeing your screen. If you're,
you can't,
are you showing slides?
no, I've just got the one slide. Can you
Okay.
see it now?
No.
Oh, you can't see it. What am I doing wrong?
Well, could you just tell me what you have been doing? Then I'll be able to help out.
I have been jumping. I'm in my Zoom, and then I tried to share my screen.
Yeah, you need to get this the material out onto your, work it out and get it onto your screen. Go
Okay,
back to Zoom and then share screen.
okay.
So exit full screen.
So at the moment I'm sharing this one.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, can you see me jumping then to the little bits inside? I wrote a story about one of my ancestors who was in 1810 put on display at Piccadilly Circus. As you remember the days of the Elephant Man, and when they put on all sorts of animals and stuff, and she was actually displayed in a cage and at Piccadilly Circus. She was called Hottentot Venus, and I wrote this story. And this woman is very, very deep in my psyche. In 2013, I think this connects a young lady in Cape Town. The girl was raped. Her abdomen was cut open. A security guard came onto a construction site in the morning and found this girl disemboweled. Now, to me, that's just like way out weird evil. Now, I believe in my innermost that Anine in Cape Town had connected with this other girl, our ancestor, and that Anine was influenced by this ancestor of mine who was called Hottentot Venus, who was trafficked and taken to London to be put on display because she had a big backside. And she thought she was going as a nursery maid. And this is still happening with young people. I believe that this young girl, Anine, had some connection with this ancestor of mine. So in February 2013, when I was sitting in France, I read of the death of this girl, and I decided to write a story. And I think it had to do with my abuse and my own journey. I wrote a story from France, and the weird thing happened is that now by this time I'd actually joined Subud and I was opened, and I didn't know of this external immense power that we serve. I was sitting in France, and I'm told that somebody on a flight from USA to Kenya spoke to somebody about this article I'd written about this girl. And this person apparently was told, when you get to Kenya, contact Duncan, and gave him the address and said, ask Duncan to be in contact with Monica about this and tell Duncan that he can help us in South Africa. And I got an email from this man, Duncan. Monica, we've read your article. I've been told by one of my colleagues that what we're doing in Nairobi, we would like you to replicate in South Africa because we're looking after children who are abused. And I think at that stage, I was completely ready for my journey. I then went to speak to my brothers and sisters in France, and I spoke with, amongst others, thank you for listening to me, the Delcourts in Toulouse. I spoke with Arnoux Deloon and told them about this. And Arnoux immediately said, Monica, Cecile Dahmer will pay for you. You go to South Africa. You go to Kenya and you're going to talk to this man. They paid for my ticket and I went to Kenya. And it blew my mind. Those children were sitting under trees with, you might have been on the outskirts of Nairobi, where there's no sewage collection. The trees are above the school grounds and the buzzards are sitting on top. Their schools have no, like in South Africa, no electricity, no proper toilets. And this young man, Duncan, was actually in the school ground showing children how to protect themselves against abuse, where they stood up and they sang, "This is my body, you have no right to touch me. This is my private part, I don't want you to touch me." And I sat there and I knew that this has to come to South Africa. So I went back to France and Arnoux put me, Cecile Dahmer International, in touch with Cecile Dahmer International, who then, since then, has been assisting me. So I want to say that when an idea comes into our heads, follow it. Don't let it die. It doesn't matter how remote it is, how far away it is, whether we can see the people involved or not. That's not our problem. We can only see that small section of the whole scenario. The idea for me was that what I need to do is, when an idea comes into my head, my job is to speak about it, to make it real, to not keep it in here, but to shout it out. And the shouting of that idea meant that the seed spread around and it collected other people's power and ideas, and it all became one. And to me, that's the beauty. So from the moment that I wrote that article in 2013, within 6 months, I Protect Me was born. I'd like to just ask Marianne if you'll show I Protect Me as it is at the moment, and then I'll retract to the people that helped along the way.
You need to take off your screen.
Must I shut my screen down? Okay.
So you need to leave your screen share.
Yes, I think it is, isn't it?
No.
I must go off.
If you go off your screen share.
Sharing is paused.
So it says there should be an option at the top of your screen.
Stop share.
Stop, that's it. Okay, so I will share my screen now.
Thank you. This is where I Protect Me is at the moment, from that seed that was born in 2013.
We talk about sexual abuses, violence, teenage pregnancies, gangsters, and why we should not discriminate between states.
In South Africa, where about 1 out of 5 women is victim of sexual violence, there was an obvious need for prevention. Our team aims to empower school teenagers to resist abuse by setting their own boundaries, learning self-defense techniques, and also to educate boys to change their sexual attitudes.
They were really, really excited talking about these issues instead of just brushing it under the table as it's done in this community. It's well prepared, it's efficient, and it's fun, it's interactive.
They've also learned from the movie how to say no, what to do when they are in certain situations and all of that. They're going to write key points, important notes about what they saw in the movie, and then one person in the group is going to represent the group and speak in front.
We need to respect each other, and there's where I protect me plays a big role in our lives.
I didn't want to walk around because the boys, they like to judge girls, but since we done IPM, I walk around and I don't care what they do or say.
I protect me.
Our main financial support comes now from Susilia Damas International, but we need more sponsors to spread our actions. If we had more programs like this running in our areas, I think we'll see a visible change in our community, especially amongst our youth. And that's where we need to start, is with the youth, because they have a bright future.
That was absolutely amazing. Incredible. Monica. Monica, I think you're on mute.
Unmute. Okay. Am I there?
Yes.
Thank you. What seed started in my head in 2013, and I read this girl story, and I was in France. That story that went out into a plane from USA to Kenya meant that those people came back to South Africa. After I'd been there, to come and help us. And they did. They have actually set up this program, which we've just seen a bit about. The program was born, I Protect Me, it's called, in September 2013. It was registered as a non-governmental organization. And that is the result of my little idea. And it is, I think, driven by my passion. So after this, when this USA and Kenya thing happened and the Kenyans came, and they showed us and the magic of what happened when they came to South Africa, because Hedley and I found some money to go there, and we managed to get, oh dear, we were at the airport, we were let down, we couldn't get accommodation. And then magically, snagically, a friend of ours turned up, my old friend, and he said, I've got accommodation for you. He put us up at the Athlone School for the Blind, where he was a vicar, and he made the accommodation for this launch of this project available. I didn't plan all this. He gave us his premises. He gave us, this is the Anglican Church in South Africa, in Cape Town, in Athlone, that said, come, we will launch this project. They gave us their access to their internets, to their premises, to their contacts to the media and called all the media in the area in on a day, and the project was launched. I could never dreamt or planned that. So I believe that, I do believe honestly in our ancestry. As a result of this, I was in contact, can't remember how it happened, with a group in the Netherlands called Wijs Weerbaar, who was doing exactly what we were doing. We needed to learn from somebody how we can work with secondary school children. So Wijs Weerbaar found money to get our trainers from South Africa to the Netherlands. This woman I didn't know, Marika, she's my friend now. She, you know that when you put warranties and guarantees down for foreign nationals, and you have to put your bank account down so people can come in. This woman who I knew from nowhere put her bank details down in the Netherlands to bring 2 people over from South Africa so she could help us to learn how the Netherlands has got the lowest rate of teenage pregnancies in the world, despite their open and historically open sexual attitudes. This woman took us to Netherlands. I didn't know her, and I was in Amsterdam when I got an email from a young man called Randall Malman. He said, Monica, Auntie Monica called me, because that's how we do in our culture. I've read the story about Hottentot Venus. I really like what you do. I'm going to South Africa. Can I help you in your project? It was unreal. This young man, who I didn't know anything about, gave me his, opened up his flat to me and 2 people from South Africa to come and live with him in Amsterdam so that we could do training with Wijs Weerbaar, because he was convinced. Now, Amsterdam is how far from South Africa? I've asked Randall to join us, because Randall actually is the young man who now is going to step over and take over from me in I Protect Me. Randall went with his lovely wife and his children. And I wrote to him and I said, yes, please, Randall, we need help. So he went back to South Africa. And as a result, I Protect Me blossomed. Thank you, Randall. Thank you, Randall. I'm going to ask Randall to give a little talk about this, because I've asked him to join this meeting. Randall's not in Subud. Randall knows nothing about Subud. But I've asked him to be here because he is an instrument. I want to just talk about the journey that I had with the African School for the Blind, with Susiela Dharma, with USA, with Norway, with Canada, with Britain. Britain just came last year and gave us, helped us. We were donated a car from Botswana. And I said to Susiela Dharma, we haven't got the money for customs duties and for income duties and stuff. And Britain said, wow, no, we can help you, Monica. They sent us money to get our car. Canada, Norway, USA, France has been supporting us all the time. And I just want to say, and MSF, they have recently given us money to start our after school program in South Africa since last year, the MSF. And then I want to talk about SIHA. Alison, thank you, Alison. I know she's not here. Thank you, David. Thank you, Viviana, for saying that you will support our prevention workers in South Africa to keep them going so that their seeds won't land on hard ground. So this is the story. You can see why I feel it's just so heavy. Not sure how much time I've got. I'd like to just ask Diana to play a little clip of the prevention workers where they are now. This clip was done last week. And then for Randall to show his face. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Monica.